A year ago, I made a video where I said that street class builds in GridLife's street class had moved out of the realm of being practically approachable for someone looking to get into entry-level time attack.
What I don't believe street class should be is an arms race or a money fight. A class with a prerequisite to drop $10,000 in mods in order to place in the top 10.
And I was lauded for that video. Good for me for putting a stock turbo back on my Evo and making it a more realistic street class car to compete with. I even objected to the allowance of two-way coilovers in GridLife's street class. Truly, a man of the people. So anyways, these are my new Fortunato Pro two-ways. We'll be putting them on in this video. So I can try and justify this as much as I want and try and explain why this is not a hypocritical thing for me to now be going to two-way suspension on my street class car, but I think at the end of the day, I am sponsored by Fortunato and I do have access to some very expensive suspension technology that is going to be out of reach of a lot of people who are going to try and build a street class car to compete in GridLife. For me, my rationale for doing this is that the other street class cars that are consistently at the top of the class are running two-way Fortunato coilovers. It just makes sense that I would want to be on equal equipment to them. I think that, you know, if you want to be able to compete in a street class and have cars that are a little bit less built that you can compete with, groups like SCCA Time Trials and NASA have much lower bars of entry in order to be competitive. I think that those groups themselves have their own drawbacks as far as having way too many classes, and at a certain point in time it kind of just turns into a participation trophy thing. But if you do want to just dip your toe into time attack and see what it's all about and get acclimated and get your car built a little bit, I think those are probably better places to get your first experience than GridLife. On the plus side, this is gonna be my last year in street class. So if you're in street class and this is not welcome news to you, on the plus side, you've only got 3 more events that you have to worry about this car.
We're going to be testing this new suspension immediately in GridLife's Midwest Festival in just a few days.
Oh baby, she is tucking. I think it needs to go up a little bit.
For functionality's sake, I mean, I'm all about seeing points.
Right, but it also needs to like have compression and have droop. It can't have all droop. It needs some compression. When you're setting up new suspension on your car, usually for street use, you set preload, you set your ride height, and you're done. Off you go. Luckily for us, Ben has made a video on how to set up your car for track use.
So right now the car is at full droop, meaning the suspension is fully extended, which is down here.
It was very helpful for me to go back and watch the video before I tackled the Evo suspension.
We ran some Kumho V730s at CMP where we got 3rd, so definitely not a slow tire. I liked them, thought they were pretty good. They are a little bit old. I had them before my car even got flooded, so they've been sitting for a while. Got a couple of events on them, and I don't know if these tires are supposed to have the same just outright pace as these guys. This is the Nankang CRS, the version 2. I got these tires from my buddies at RS Pro. David over there, fantastic. They're all motorsports enthusiasts, Porsche guys and whatnot. If you need some really fast tires, this is the Jackie Ding spec Nankang. So this is what he's set all of his records on in the Supra, all the stuff that he's done in the M2, always on these Nankang CRSs. It's supposed to be very, very fast.
What you're seeing is about 3 days worth of measuring compression, droop, putting the car on the ground, raising it back up, adjusting lock collars and shock bodies, and doing it all over again.
Got some chicken wire from a local hardware store, and just making a little front grill for the front bumper. Used to have a grill material in there, but that got knocked out going off track at some point, I think. Trying to protect the PWI intercooler.
Much easier than setting up the suspension was mounting the remote canisters, which hold excess shock fluid and control compression adjustment.
So we don't have Mark with us right now. He's getting the trailer. So I am left to do the alignment with my helper.
Oh, hey!
This is maybe, I think, literally the first time I've ever worked on this car with Ben.
5 years ago, working with Ben on my car would have been a nightmare. But now that we're both in our 30s, we've mellowed out considerably. It's nice.
Oh yeah, look at that. So doing an oil change here, because between the moisture that we're getting from E85 in the engine and the fact that I run a recirculated
pump from the catch can back into the engine block, I think that we're probably getting contamination and moisture into the engine oil. So it's not able to operate at 100% efficiency. So just the solve for that, I think, is very frequent oil changes. And it's okay, it's a track car, so it makes sense. Like, that's not a big deal. So we're draining out this Valvoline VR1 2050, and we're gonna replace it with 7 more quarts of VR1 2050.
And here we are, welcome to Gingerman Raceway for Grid Life's Midwest Festival. And you might have noticed, Ben Thorne has had a bit of a growth spurt. Ah, got you. This isn't Ben at all.
Nope, it's me, I made it, we're here.
It's Kobe Shield. You might know Kobe from our channel. He's driven our cars a bunch. We did the track tested series together, which the last thing you saw Kobe driving was a little K truck with 40 horsepower. So Kobe and I actually go way, way, way back, like before YouTube, before any of you guys have ever seen me. I was in high school with Kobe. He and I went to middle school together, and then I went on to do YouTube, and Kobe went on to be a pro race car driver, amongst other things. So this weekend, you're not being a pro race car driver so much as you're being a hood rat time attacker like the rest of us.
Hey, I'm back to my roots, man.
Yeah.
That's where it all started.
Midwest is the event. Everybody comes out, like all the fast guys are here, especially in street class, especially in track mod. And speaking of, what is this? Tell me about this a little bit.
So it started its life as a C7 Grand Sport, Corvette obviously. The motor was taken out, fully built by a company called Weapon X. So it's a built LT1, it makes a little over 600 wheel horsepower. And then it's gutted, so it weighs about 3,100 pounds, we think, without me in it. So with my fat butt in it, it's like 3,300.
Yeah.
And then literally an APR wing, and then suspension. It has aftermarket tractive shocks, but it's still on the Corvette leaf springs. And then obviously we're wheels and tires to the class.
And you're going up against who this weekend? Who are the big hitters in track
Well,
mod?
we got my boy, old Ding Fling, Jackie Ding.
Yeah.
And then we have that 720S, I believe, McLaren.
Yeah.
But track mod's pretty stacked. There's some really fast guys in that class, and most of them are making very high 600s all the way up to 750 plus, I believe, wheel horsepower. So we're a little outgunned in the power department.
So for some context, this weekend I'm driving in street class like I have been for the last 4 years with the Evo. The Evo is built for street class, stock turbo, no aftermarket aero. They now allow two-way suspension, but 200 treadwear tires. I can only run a 255. Meanwhile, Kobe's in track mod. Track mod is not the next class up from street. Street mod is the next class up from street. Track mod is the next class up from street mod. So this is very nearly an unlimited class.
These guys, they're very optimized, they're fully gutted, they're making huge power, etc. I figured I could at least, my goal this weekend was a podium, not necessarily to win, because I knew everything would just have to come together for that.
And you've never driven this car before, right?
That's correct. This car actually was taken off the track 4 years ago. It got finished being built a year ago, and it's never been on track until this weekend. So we're gonna probably have some teething issues. Fingers crossed that it just makes it through the weekend. But other than that, we did what you probably shouldn't do. We brought a completely untested, unproven car with a brand new build and just slapped it into Time Attack.
Are you talking about my car? Oh no, you're talking about your car, because I did the same thing.
Well, I'm just following in your shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
All the stuff that you've seen so far of us setting the car up and whatnot was 2 days ago. So I haven't done any testing whatsoever on these new Fortunes, on the new tires, nothing. We had competition that was here within the last couple of weeks, so they'll obviously be super fresh. They should be able to go out and just set quick times right away, so it's gonna be challenging for sure.
hasn't been on track in over 4 years, has a brand new motor build. So really, I just wanted to make sure everything was running. There was no leaks or anything crazy going on. The car ended up overheating a little bit. We think we figured out the issue. We think it just needed to push some water through. We put some water wetter and other things in it, but we somehow ended up P2 overall. I literally got one flyer and then had to shut the car down, and it was nowhere near optimal. So I'm kind of really excited, but a little nervous on what this thing can do. I don't want to get my hopes up too much because any issues can rear its head, but we're starting off on a really, really good note, and I'm super excited to be that close to the top. I had no clue this car would be like this at all. So this is raw American muscle, and you can't touch it. I mean, there's nothing better than just bald eagles blowing out of the exhaust, and we're here doing it for Dale. So my boy Jackie Ding was P1 overall in the session. We're P2. I know he has more left in him because he's gone faster, but I have more left in me. So if old girl here can stay together, I think I can go hunt down my boy Jackie.
Hello everyone, this is Jackie D. Behind me is the PhD Racing BMW M2 TA. Currently version 1, basically. This is really like street modified aero. A tune from AMS Performance that makes about 670 horsepower. It's a very basic package. You can totally drive this on the street. Effectively, it's a street car that we just took the passenger seat out of to make a trackman car. Kobe coming back to grid life as a pro driver, professional, I'll have you know, is very big news here. You know, it got all of us feeling fuzzy. Pro drivers aren't allowed in grid life. I had to check the rule book. It was allowed, unfortunately. Anyway, this is how bothered I am about Kobe's arrival. I thought you used to do Formula cars. You're ruining my shot. Get the f. I'm not worried about Kobe, is what I'm trying to say. I think our goal for the weekend has always been pretty clear. If we can do the best we can, just go out there and have a good time. And of course, now that Kobe showed up, gotta be Kobe.
The car felt amazing. The two-ways are awesome. Like, I didn't know how much I was gonna be able to feel a difference. They feel so buttery smooth. That's like the only way I can describe it. Like, nothing upset the car. It felt in the best ways that like a luxury car feels like a luxury car. That's how this felt. It was still sharp, turning and everything was still awesome, but it just soaked up everything. The car never felt upset. Unfortunately, after I did a 37.3, which is a second off of my best time ever, it was a great time, I decided to do one more flyer, and coming into turn 5, hit the brakes and just went straight to the floor.
I lost brakes, holy cow.
And so I had to like pump to try and keep from going off track. And then when I was trying to bring it in, I had to like kind of scoot into the pit in lane to try and avoid, you know, getting in the way of other people. And I had too much speed, which really wasn't a lot of speed, like 40 miles an hour, but no brakes. So I just ripped the e-brake and just prayed.
Oh, thank holy f***ing.
My evasive action through the grass sadly cost me half of my 6th SE front lip, which is just a meme at this point.
Either we burst a line or a caliper failed or something, but we're pulling it all apart and checking it. You can see the powder coating has like boiled on the caliper. The caliper's a completely different color. Step on it. So we've got a bunch of air in the brakes, and based on the color, the fluid was boiled massively. But we're like 13th fastest of the event, I think, out of a lot of people, and first in street class. Granted, the other heavy hitters like had car problems on the first session before they could turn a lap, as opposed to me who had a lap and then I had car problems. So they're, I'm sure, gonna be right up there. Like, everybody's going 36s. The track is so fast right now.
My issue turned out to be something causing my brakes to overheat, as you can see here.
I was 2/10 off of my all-time record from 2022 with a smaller turbo. However, I got beat and my record got broken by my perennial rival, Josh Alka, who went 136.332, which beat my record by 0.05 of a second. So I still have a great shot at the podium sprint, but my opportunity to set a really good record to get into the 35s is slipping away rapidly, and I'm gonna have to be right on it tomorrow morning. With how hot the brakes were getting, it really accelerated the wear on the brake rotors, which were already marginal. I had ordered new rotors before the event, and they did not show up. So that resulted in rotors that are cracked completely through. So I picked up 2 blank rotors that will hopefully do the job I need them to do.
So I reset my record on that second lap.
Which is awesome. You're going faster.
36.1, 2/10 over the record.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Yeah, this morning Joe Mielke in the Subaru went 35.9.
Okay.
Luca did 35.6.
Wow.
And he hasn't had any laps.
Yeah.
So he got in and just
laid
was
the hammer
in the zone.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy. Like Luca, you're a monster. This is my car, right?
Identical. Yeah, pretty much.
Obviously Evo 9, 4G63, same horsepower roughly, same mile per hour on the straightaways. We both have the SSB drop knuckles. We both are on Fortune 2-ways. Luca's just absolutely driving the wheels off of it.
The lap felt easy, and as I passed the finish line and I looked over to the lap timer and I saw 35.6, I was like, really? It was a bit of a surprise, but usually that is inducive of a good lap.
Yeah.
If things flow,
Yeah.
and you're not trying to wrestle the car into things that it doesn't want to do.
Luca's not even the only guy that's beating me right now. We've also got Joe Mielke, who has always been super fast here. He's a wheel.
Yep.
Honestly, dude, I think you just wheel it. I think we've all got really expensive cars and you just wheel it.
I mean, the car is pretty light compared to other competitors.
Okay.
So I think that plays a big part in this.
It's just an STI, a Hawkeye STI, like an 07?
Correct, yeah, it's a Hawkeye STI. It has quite a bit of weight reduction done to it.
So last season, you were 1,000th off of my record
Oh
here.
my God, yes. Oh, I forgot about that. I don't know why you had to remind me about that, but.
And I think you texted me and you calculated it, and it's, at our mile per hour, it's 2 inches.
I did, yeah. So yeah, Ben has 2 inches on me.
So, well, I don't anymore for sure, because now you've gone and beat my record by 0.4 of a second.
For now, I mean, it's still, weekend's not over yet, so.
Yes, but I mean, that record is gone. It's in the grave.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
dirt all
even
over
Luca
Yep.
bested that even.
Well, and so did Josh. Josh
Yeah,
beat,
we all beat the record.
everybody
actually,
beat it, yeah.
Vaughn Gittin, are you proud of me?
While I do my first ever drift stitch, check out a comparison of mine and Kobe's fastest laps. Besides just being a neat comparison, as we go through the lap, notice how the Evo doesn't really fall away that much in the straightaways, where the Corvette's 200 extra horsepower should be the deciding factor.
I'm in a podium position right now in street class, but Kobe's still, the car's slow.
So the car is pulling a decent bit of timing for some reason. We're not really sure why. I was running 93 in it. We just put 100 octane in it. So I'll have hopefully most of the 93 out of the car and all 100 in the car by the next session. Because right now I'm only doing 134 miles an hour down the back straight. Everyone else in my class is doing like 148 to 160. So I'm losing 15 to 20 plus miles an hour just in one straightaway, which is seconds down only one portion of the track.
So we're going out for qualifying 1. This is the first session of the weekend that counts towards the podium sprint. So you need to be in the top 5 of your class in order to get into the podium sprint. So both myself and Kobe need to get into that top 5. For me, it's a little bit of an easier ask than it is for Kobe at the moment.
Kobe is gonna have to go and find some time because he's currently 5th in the class, which would be enough. But if anybody goes faster,
then he won't even make it to podium sprint, and I know he won't be happy with that.
Well, so how was that session? You said you were driving the life out of the car?
Yeah, so I finally just had enough, threw all the excuses out the window, and we went for it. And went slower than my first session the entire weekend with the car locked out. So overdriving's not always the best, but I mean, everything was put together well. So I think the drifters went out there, put a bunch of rubber down. That typically slows everything down. It was a little bit hotter surface-wise. Temperature-wise, it wasn't bad. So we're 5th in class. So at least the way it sits, we've qualified for the podium sprints, but I need to stay there, and guys are hot on my heels. We're at a massive, massive disadvantage speed-wise. So if we can figure that out in the morning, which we may do a couple things to the tune, that may make it a little less safe, but it should make all the power it needs to make, and then we'd be really good.
Not only was the Corvette down on power, it was also visually burning a lot of oil, so much so that Kobe had to start topping off the dry sump.
So we're gonna throw some VR1 in the car. We run the 2050 in this car. I got my Kirkland water bottle funnel. It's proper if you don't have an oil funnel. It's a nice little life hack. I've run Valvoline in all my cars all these years. The old push rods like the extra zinc in these oils, and that's why I like it too. It keeps everything healthy for quite a long time.
Grid Life Day 2 ended for me with a fun photo shoot with Valvoline, but in the back of my mind, all I was thinking about was Kobe and I going into the last day of Midwest, lagging behind our competition.
P6 in class, which means I've no longer qualified for the podium sprint later today. The car is definitely not super happy under braking, and I think it may be because of the big tire split we're running on this car. We're running Viper ACR Kumos, which have a very, very short front sidewall, very big rear. I knew it was a risk running them, but we didn't have time to test the car before we got here, so I just sent it anyways, and I think that's where my ABS issues are coming from. Just having to be a little bit lighter on the pedal. I had a little mishap into one, Went in a little too hot. Other than that, it was okay though. I need to put a banger together and try and qualify this afternoon. We're down drastically on the straightaways to everyone else still. I'm losing about 10 to 20 miles an hour to everybody else in class, which is insane, and I only need a second. So if we can find some power between now and this next session, we'll be in really good shape. If not, I'm just gonna have to drive my heart out and see what we can do.
So I'm here with the fourth horseman of the street class apocalypse, Josh Halka. He has been, I don't know, champion 5 times?
4 times.
4 times, okay. Only 4-time champ of street class. Josh has been my perennial street class nemesis, always a super heavy hitter. And then he was actually the first person to break my record from 2022 this weekend. And then
everyone else broke it.
Everyone else has broken it as well. So it's been broken 4 times this weekend.
And everyone's really pushing to beat that benchmark. And so, you know, we all show up with that goal in mind, and we're all really competitive and want to win. And so you got 4 people that come here expecting to beat it, right? Like that's the benchmark. And so it's going to be probably the most exciting event for street class because podium sprint is going to go any which way, right? Yeah. This is the most competitive North American time attack series. And the reason being is outside of the competition, it's super fun. You know, everyone hangs out, like we're all buds. We all come talk to each other. How's your car doing? How you doing? You know, and you got the great concerts. You got, you know, just all these people here. And so everyone wants to go to these. And we've all competed really hard over the years, built our cars with the rule set. And it took me, you know, 4 or 5 years to get my car to this point. It took you a while, and
it took me motors and transmissions.
Yeah, all that stuff. Luca and Joe have been developing their cars for a long time, and it takes a lot of testing, a lot of driver development. You know,
I think just as much as our cars have gotten faster each year, we've gotten faster each year as drivers.
Yeah, I mean, when I think back to how I used to drive, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I'm like, I don't even know what I was doing back then.
It's the last qualifying session, and after some coaching from Kobe's competition, Jackie Ding, I'm feeling confident in a couple of spots where I can pick up time. But realistically, I'm safely through to podium sprint in P4, even if I don't improve. Kobe and the Corvette, though, are going to have to find a full second.
Final quali, I'm sitting P6 right now. The issue with that is, if I'm not in the top 5, I don't get to do the podium sprint. I downloaded a new tune that hopefully shouldn't pull as much timing. I'm not sure if it'll even work, so we're just gonna hope for the best and see what happens.
Kobe's new tune was hot, for sure. In fact, maybe a bit too hot. For the rest of my life, when I hear the phrase driving a car in anger, I will only think of these laps Kobe turns in the final quali session. I've never seen a man and machine so at odds with each other. You can tell the car is doing absolutely nothing Kobe asks of it. From braking to lateral grip to straight line speed, Kobe is overdriving the daylights out of this car to try and eke out a faster time than his very first lap of the weekend. But it's not there. The car is just deteriorating underneath him.
Again, like I said, this was a fresh motor build. It had never been tested. It was theoretically supposed to be making over 600 wheel. I'm doing 134 miles an hour, and he's doing 129 to 130. So we're only a couple miles an hour faster, and we're supposed to be making more than 200 wheel more than he is. I got a low oil pressure indicator on that last lap and decided to bring it in. Luckily, there's still oil, but yeah, so fortunately, we didn't make the podium sprint like we wanted to. Still had an amazing time. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll actually button this thing up, give it some ample testing like it needs, and come and battle with all these fast boys up front, because I would absolutely love to, and I owe it to them as well, because I would love to battle with these guys and give them an honest shake.
Throughout all of my last session of qualifying, I was trying to make improvements to the car's setup, aided by my good buddy Devin Herndon of Fortune Auto.
Too much push through 789. I need less understeer, so either bleed down pressures in the front or soften front compression. I don't know. It's the front can't. It's worse in 789. Wait.
Okay, I'm just gonna put it back where it was.
We continuously made adjustments throughout the session in an effort to make the Evo turn even better in the drop.
So is it still plowing?
Yeah. It might just be, I don't know if the car can do better, but maybe it's tire pressure.
Right. I mean, if it's still plowing, we can just add compression in the rear. It's gonna rotate the car. I just don't know how much rotation.
I need on throttle rotation.
Okay.
Not necessarily like corner entry rotation. I need mid corner.
Okay.
But I did a 36.7, so. Did anybody else go faster?
I'll get to the 36.6. I mean,
we are podium sprints. I am in P4 from qualifying. So all the other all-wheel drive guys have gone faster than me, but I'm just gonna go out. I know exactly what I need to do a mid to low 36. Conditions are actually quite favorable. It's overcast, so track should be nice and cool. It's probably gonna be less grip because they just did a grip drift session, so there's a bunch of marbles and dirt. But I just gotta try and do a mid 36, hopefully, and not go off. I cannot go off, guys.
We're lined up for podium sprint, and it is starting to rain. Rain is appearing on the windshield, which means anything can happen. Everybody is on the semi-slicks. Nobody went over to rain tires. Level playing field. We'll just see what happens. If it keeps raining, it'll be interesting.
Well, feel out your brake points. If you feel like the car isn't giving you what you need online, brake just a touch offline. Like it's like straddle track middle instead of being all the way right or left. Does that make sense? The problem with rain is like it's up to you, right? Like rain is all feel. I can tell you whatever I can tell you, but you got to feel it.
When he goes by, I will release you. 2 flyers, you see it at start finish. Tape it on the track.
This is about as greasy as a track will get right now. You know, when it's really wet, just wet, it's slippery, but this is greasy. And it's just totally unpredictable right now.
Big slide for Brad Moore. It is slick out there, isn't it? All right, well, the challenge is known now. Off to the green flag here. And just like Watkins Glen, this is going to be the battle of the best of those in the wet. So find the grip. Stay off the racing line, Greg, where all that rubber and oil is coming up out of the circuit. Big slides there. This is going to be fun to watch, though, at the limited grip.
You got this. You're the You're a pro. Go do the lap. Let's go. It is slick. It is definitely slick. Yeah, slick. Okay, got it.
From the very beginning of my sighting lap, it's obvious that the track is deceptively low grip. It's not pouring down rain, but the normal grip that the track usually has is completely gone, and all the suspension changes we made in the dry aren't going to help here.
Understeer City, got it. So we gotta be so careful through here. Let's try and get in a rhythm. Yep. Good grief. This track is a nightmare in the rain. It's not bad. It's the lateral grip where we're struggling. Turn. Waiting a year. God. Setup sucks. Okay, I can't be doing that.
Next car out, Ben Lynn, the second half of Gears and Gasoline.
Well, qualifying 3, he was one of the guys who improved his time. Not a lot did. So he's got some pace here and goes right to the top at a 58.9. So 2 seconds quicker on his first lap. Now he's got a better feel for it. Let's see what he can do.
Heard some wheel spin leaving turn 1 and little lateral slide. big lateral slide, big counter steer moment. Not a drift session just yet, but he put up a big moment there. Now throttles down, foot to the floor, up through the gears and into turn 3.
At this point I can see I'm making huge improvements on this lap. My aim solo is full green, meaning that I'm at least half a second faster on this second and final lap. I've just got to hold it together.
Well, that's come on.
And 7 looks very slow at the moment, very slippery.
Yeah, really treacherous up in there.
Oh, that was brutal. All right, patience, patience.
On broadcast.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Ooh, baby, hang on to her. Ben Lynn pushing the limit of grip, and there's just not a lot of it out there, so that limit is very low.
Yeah, and Halka, just off camera here, I just saw Halka go off down in 5 and 6.
Please stop, thank you. $158.9, that's terrible. I misread the conditions, I think. That was not fast. Garbage.
Or sorry, that's Halka that we're
That's
looking at.
Halka, and I don't think he went 4 off. I think he just dropped those left sides coming through 6 where I saw him.
Good, okay, so that's good. Yeah, Almec will be coming up a bit later in this session. This is Josh Halka. Too much! Keeps it on the pavement, though.
Yeah.
See what Luca's got. If Luca knocks Halka down, Halka's off the podium with no chance to get back up there. And will he do that? To the top. 158.858.
Yeah, that's a good first lap, too.
Is Josh done?
Yeah, Josh is done.
Okay, so I'm at least on the podium.
Yep, you're on podium. Here's Luca. There's you.
Dude, I screwed up my fast lap. Brutal.
Yeah, we saw the slide.
Well, no, it was understeer. It's just so, it's so tricky to drive right now.
Still P1, homie.
No, P2 now.
Oh,
Luca got me,
Luca got him.
By 10th. I screwed up my second lap. It was going to be a
He got you by 1/10?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for how this was going to handle on semi-slicks. I'm used to the ECSs.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, our setup is too sharp.
It's very stiff.
It's too stiff.
Yeah.
It's oversteer.
Well, and we could have cranked a bunch of compression out of it, but it was too late.
Yeah.
You came to grid right as it started. We were talking about that. We should have softened it up for you.
It's okay. Do what you can do.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you, man. You're 4 seconds faster than Halka.
I mean, finding that on that first lap. And the one thing you notice what he's doing is all of his inputs. Ooh,
too much.
I say that, and he goes around.
Yeah. So he'll get back rolling.
Yeah, essentially this lap by Lucas is not going to be fast at all, and this will be his second lap. So right now the focus is going to be on that number 555 Milky at this stage. Everything I've seen in this lap, he has this thing very nicely under control, not throwing it around, really gentle throttle application. Look at that.
Is it going to be enough, though? This will be his second lap next time by. First lap, top of the board.
There it is.
157.686, and Milky has done it.
Not to say anything, you know, to denigrate the other guys out there, but the way that he has put that lap in, it was discipline.
Just being cautious, but doing it in a way that was aggressive enough to find the time he needed.
Exactly.
Joe Milky will be on top in street class.
Finland to victory.
Well, buddy, things didn't go exactly how we were hoping they would go for you this weekend.
But you know what? You put me on your back and carried me through the weekend.
I carried the team.
And I'm so proud.
P3 in the sprint podium, P3 time-wise for street class over the weekend, I think. Yeah, I don't think this would have happened. I don't think we would have been that close to everybody. I don't think we would have gotten the P3 without the Fortunato suspension. The two-ways right out of the gate, insane. And then the adjustment, we made the car faster and faster and faster over the course of the weekend. I was low-key like, I don't know if this is gonna make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Because I'm too much of an idiot to know how to tune, you know, pro two-ways. But as soon as we put them on, out of the gate, it felt amazing. Felt like a Cadillac. Huge thanks to Valvoline for I mean, the car's still running. I can't believe it.
It's great.
We shot a bunch of metal through this engine, and it's still running.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
And big, big special thanks to my buddy Kobe. Thank you for coming out.
Yep.
What a blast. Thank you for all the coaching, dude. You're the reason that I got third.
Stop. No, you did great. I'm proud of you. Thanks for having me out. I'm glad to be back in the grid life world.